Alright, yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Gonna make another video today. It's about, should you track calories? So I've got my whiteboard here, I got my points down, and I'm of course gonna elaborate on each point. So let's just dive right into this. So thanks for coming back, and here we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you track your calories, it allows you to be more consistent. Now, what I advocate for is slow, consistent weight loss. That way you're not too hungry, you're not too prone to want to rebound, you're not going to want to be prone to binge on your diet. If you take a slow approach, you train your body, you train your mind how to get down to leaner levels, and then how to be able to actually maintain those leaner levels. Because the last thing you want to do is work hard, diet, and then just end up rebounding. So it allows you to be consistent. Number two, don't be too specific when you're tracking calories. You know, I know a lot of the times people will start tracking calories and then all of a sudden you won't eat your mom's food, you won't eat your dad's food anymore. But fact of the matter is, guys, unless you're competing for a show, and really even if you're competing for like a bodybuilding show and you're, say, even 2 to 4 weeks out is when you would have to start getting really specific. But other than that, you know, if you do things like eating, let's say your mom makes dinner, right? She makes pasta. A lot of you guys, I know, especially in my culture, they tend to mix everything together. Sometimes you can have the beef or the meat separately, the pasta separately, and whatever. But for those of you, say something, you're having a dish where everything's mixed together, how do you actually go about eating that? Well, what you can do is you can just estimate. I usually, in that instance, will say, let's say there's ground beef, pasta, plus pasta sauce. I'll weigh out, let's say 300 grams, right? And so what I'll say is 150 of that is ground beef, 150 of that is pasta. Of course, it's not going to be the exact same, and I could very well be off. But I'm going to be in the ballpark. And also what I'll do, if it's if it has a sauce in it and it's already mixed in, I'll do something like weigh out, let's say, an extra 50 grams. So what I'll do is I'll weigh out the total end product of the pasta will be, say, like 350, 360 grams. I'll chart 150 protein source, 150 pasta, and like 50 grams, 60 grams of pasta sauce. Now, is this 100% accurate? No, of course not, but it's going to throw you within the ballpark. And you know what? If you can only eat meals that you've cooked yourself and everything is separate, you're going to miss out on a lot in life. You can only do that for so long. Like I said, close to a bodybuilding show, maybe, but out and about, living your life, trying to get lean, you don't necessarily have to be that intense. So don't be too specific. Don't be too crazy about it. Guys, you want to make sure you're also eating healthy. It's really not just about the macros. You know, eating healthy is obviously healthy. It's good for you. And not only that, it's also going to help keep you more full. This is very essential when you're dieting. It's going to basically help you from not binging. And, you know, you need your vitamins, you need your minerals. So you got to eat healthy, guys. You got to do it. I personally really resonate with this next point. Most people just have a hard time naturally controlling their portions. Now, I am a complete fat kid at heart. I have been overweight before. I've also been very skinny before. And now I'm just jacked. No, I'm just kidding. But I naturally have a big appetite. And for me, guys, I have a difficult time controlling my portions. So by tracking my food, I can actually stick to my calories. Otherwise, left to my own devices, I'm most likely going to overeat. And also, this is partially almost not our fault in a sense, because a lot of the things we eat nowadays are very hyperpalatable, very high calories. So just as simple as the common things that you hear: don't drink away your calories, don't use it on sauces. A lot of things that we have manufactured in our food industry have just created such a hard way for us to be leaner, because there's so much food that tastes so good and it's so high in calories. So even if you're having a small portion, you might be having 700-800 calories for like a small snack, and you don't even realize it, even though it's such a small portion. So by tracking it, this kind of eliminates that. So again, throw all these points together in a puzzle. It fits together. It's definitely necessary, especially if you want to make consistent results. if you're someone who naturally doesn't overeat, which is, I believe personally, a very small population percentage of the population, probably, most of us have a hard time controlling our appetite. So just to give you guys a rundown of kind of like what I do. So personally, how do you go about tracking your calories? Now, I know a lot of people track protein, carbs, and fats, but to me, that almost becomes too much like a game. And it's almost like you're trying to fit things in and you're constantly thinking about your food nonstop throughout the day, eat way more than you should. Especially for most of you, this isn't even something that you're doing for a living, and you're spending way too much time trying to fit together the macros and the numbers. Personally, I say forget that. What I do is I track protein and then I track calories. So I typically have a higher day. The days that I train, I do a little bit higher protein. The days that I don't train, I typically do a little bit lower protein. Or sorry, what am I saying? Calories. And protein too, actually. Okay, let's try that again. So on the days that I train, I typically eat a little bit more calories and a little bit more protein. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I shoot for about 1.5 grams per pound of body weight for protein, which is very excessive, but that's just what I like doing. Helps keep me full. I like the foods. If anything, it doesn't hurt you. So at least you're not leaving any gains at the table. So, and the days that I'm not training, you don't expend as much calories. So I think, a little bit less calories helps you stay leaner, especially when you're doing the lean bulk and things like that. So by nature, that day will be a little bit less protein, but it's still going to be well over 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein. It might just be about 25 grams less than the days that I train. So still a lot of protein. All right, so that's how I do it. I find that very simple and just easy. And some days are higher carbs, some days are higher fat. It just depends what I'm eating that day, what I'm in the mood for, et cetera, et cetera. That could depend on you guys based on what kind of foods you like as well. And you know what? Eventually, guys, you do learn better self-control. You do get to a point where this gets much easier. So much easier in terms of following the diet while tracking the calories, and much easier in the sense of a day that you can't track calories because you don't have your scale on you. And other things where, say, you want to go out to a restaurant and eat. I find that the more that you do this and the more that you live this lifestyle, sometimes, you could want to go out to dinner, and instead of ordering, say, like a typical meal that you should eat, a little bit of vegetables, maybe some mashed potatoes or some baked potatoes, and like a steak or something like that, or like a chicken sandwich, not fried. You say, you know what, I'm out with friends, and you end up eating something that's really, really bad for you, throw off your diet, and then you have that all-in mentality where you say, you know what, I've already messed up my food, I might as well eat 3 servings of dessert. And you know what, the more you do this tracking thing, the more you can have that self-control where you can go out for dinner and then you can have just a regular meal. And even though it's not something that you made, you're still kind of eating something that you would eat at home, and you're still sticking to your plan. It might be a little bit over on the calories that day, but it's better to be a little bit over and practice that self-control, not having the scale, not having it being the food that you made for yourself that day, still sticking to your plan, give or take, and just having that mental strength strengthened, and not just deciding to binge and go all in. And for a lot of you, I'm sure you can actually agree with that. I know me personally, sometimes that's what happens. If I end up going a little bit off route, eating something, at a restaurant, I might say, screw it, let's just eat a bunch of food. Or if I eat a little bit, 100, 200 calories over, sometimes I might just say, instead of leaving it at that for the day, I might end up doing, I've already went over, I might as well just eat everything, So for some of you guys, hopefully you relate to that. So that really gets eliminated, or not eliminated, but you improve that mental strength. And, just to sum things up here, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What I want to say, some people, for you, if you're just starting this out, it's a bit hard to get used to, but I say start small. You don't have to make every single thing yourself. You don't have to have everything separately. You can still estimate, you can be off here and there with stuff, but as long as you're in the ballpark, because remember, we set these caloric goals and they're really just estimations of what we think we need to lose weight. So as long as you're close within that goal and you're being consistent, that is much better than not tracking. And that's much better than just doing things blindly. So it is a little tough, guys, especially when you're first starting out. I really encourage you to try it, because you're only going to be bad at something. The worst you can be the first time you do it, and from there it typically gets better. Hopefully it gets better for you. And you know what? I know it can be a little tough, but if you work hard now, guys, if you make the sacrifices, life is about sacrifices. If you want something big, if you want to achieve something, you're going to have to do things differently. If you've always been doing something one way and you're not achieving the look that you want, then obviously it's not working. It's insane to think if you keep doing the same thing that's actually going to work. So you got to change things up. Maybe you got to start tracking calories, achieve your results, work hard, make the sacrifice. And you know, you either want to do it and achieve what you need to achieve, or you're not going to do it. At the end of the day, when your head hits the pillow, you either did what you needed to do or you didn't do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.